Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Shannon makes the argument why there's no pressure on his guy LeBron for these NBA Finals. Skip calls out Doc Rivers and Paul Pierce for being hypocritical on their criticism of Kevin Durant. Also, can these Golden State Warriors possibly make 8 straight finals? Skip and Shannon tell us why they don't see it. Plus, Skip and Shannon react to twists and turns in the ongoing Tiger Woods story. Finally, Clippers guard Austin Rivers comes to the desk and shares his insight on being coached by his dad and fires some shots at Glenn Big Baby Davis. Skip and Shannon, we have some traveling coming up.
Because you know what's going to happen tomorrow, don't you, big man?
Yeah, I know what's going to happen.
Shannon goes to Dub Nation tomorrow. How's Dub Nation going to...
Cleveland colors on. You going to wear those?
Yeah. You going to wear those tomorrow?
I figured I'd get it in today.
You're going to take your flack tomorrow, then Skip gets to go to Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be
only get 2 days. You get 4 days.
I get 4 days of it. Ooh, how are you?
I'm feeling like we're going to see that bow tie appearance.
Maybe.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
On the,
I'm not
on the east side.
I won't do it, Skip. I won't do it.
Yeah, right. Well, let's get started with LeBron. He will play in his 7th straight finals tomorrow night. LeBron is the first player in over 50 years to do that, despite making a historic comeback last year to bring the Cavs their first title. LeBron still has a losing record in the finals, and now he has to topple a new and improved Warriors team and avoid a 5th NBA Finals loss. Shannon, how much pressure is on LeBron in these finals?
0. Pressure is what the unprepared feels.
Oh, here we go. Oh, that's the answer. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're really saying it's like 1,000,000 pounds of pressure, but he doesn't feel any pressure.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. You went to Vanderbilt.
Yes,
I did. You got great grades.
Yeah. By the way, our golf team with Final Four at the finals. But go ahead.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
I ain't saying it.
Yeah.
I ain't saying congratulations. But when you studied for a test and you prepared a week, 2 weeks for an exam, and you went to take that test, how much pressure did you feel, Skip?
I crammed the night before. I pulled all-nighters before every exam, and I was totally prepared by 8 a.m.
Okay.
Okay?
So you felt no pressure.
Yes.
So imagine.
That's not true.
Imagine this.
I was this overachieving public school kid at Vanderbilt.
Oh,
Go
stop
ahead.
it.
Go
Stop
ahead. It's true.
LeBron is a process guy. He's mentioned it several times. He loved the process. He knows what it takes in order to accomplish this feat. He's a guy that trains hard. He prepares mentally. He eats the right things. He gets the proper amount of rest. And so going into this game, all the pressure's on the Warriors. They were the 73-9 team. They were up 3-1. They lost. They added the second best player in the NBA. They were the best team start to finish. For the most, 98% of the prognostications say the Golden State Warriors is going to win. All the betting money is on the Golden State Warriors. There's no pressure on LeBron. LeBron knows what it takes. He's prepared. You don't get to this point. You don't get born to a 16-year-old mother, come from where he came from, make it to where he is currently, and not be mentally tough, and not be focused, and not ready to accept the challenge at hand. There's no pressure on LeBron James because you know what, Skip? Whether he's 4-4 or 3-5, he's still a Mount Rushmore player. You know that, and I know that.
So help me out. Did he feel any pressure in 2007 before his first finals? He was ready for that, born for that when he got swept? I was just curious.
Skip.
No pressure?
Were they the better team? You got 3 Hall of Famers, and you got a guy with some
Mount Rushmore, though. A lot of expectations.
Was he a Mount Rushmore player then?
He had chosen one tattooed across his back coming out of high school. So going into that finals in 07 against my Spurs, I thought, if this guy is that good, this is going to be some trouble here because he will just, again, only 5 guys get to play at one time for each team. So one guy can really have an impact on a basketball game.
I thought the very same thing when Michael Jordan got swept by the big 3, when Jesus and sneakers got swept. I said, if he's Jesus and sneakers, there's no way the big 3 getting past him.
Well, LeBron wasn't Jesus and sneakers in that 4-game series because it went 1, 2, 3, 4 over. Okay, so did LeBron feel any pressure in 2014 against the Spurs?
No.
No? None?
No.
Okay.
28-7-4 said he felt no pressure.
Okay. So he's lost 4 finals, so he's never felt an ounce of pressure in any of the 4 finals that he has lost out of the 7 he has played.
Maybe the first one because he had never been there before. He didn't know what that stage was like. Yeah, you can play in big games, and I'm sure he's played in big games in high school. I'm sure, get the semis and the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm sure. But when you take that stage, all eyes, there's no other basketball going on. There's not the Western Conference playing their semis or finals. It's you versus them. And so maybe he was a little nervous in that first one. But after that, I do not believe LeBron James felt any pressure. And especially now, after 4 MVPs and 3 final MVPs, taking down a 73-9 team after being down 1-3, there is no pressure on LeBron James. All the pressure's on the Warriors. You and I both know that.
And by the way, I think LeBron felt painful, just excruciating pressure going into the 2012 finals, his first with the super team that was the Miami Heat, when he joined, obviously, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in South Beach.
You mean 2011?
2011, I'm sorry. And, no.
2010, but 2011 finals.
The first one that he won,
2011
the breakthrough. Finals. Because, help me out, Joy, but didn't he started reading before every game? He had some, like, Zen that he was doing.
He always reads. He like The Godfather. Okay. Remember last year he was reading The Godfather?
Yeah. Okay.
So he read it about 15 times.
Did he?
Well, that and he, they promised 7 championships.
Yes,
so.
that's true. I forgot about that. So he had to feel a little pressure there.
You hope now that he go to 7 playoffs since he's gone.
I wonder if he felt any pressure after they lost Game 4 in Dallas in 2011 to fall to 2-2 after he thought it was basically over, and then all of a sudden the pressure started mounting when he lost the 5th game, and then did he feel any pressure going to Game 6 at Dallas that year, 2011?
Skip, I'm just trying to give it to you from an athlete's perspective, especially when you prepared for that moment.
Okay, I'm not going to go into LeBron's psyche because you live in LeBron's psyche because you are an extension of LeBron James.
That's all you do is...
I know.
Hold on.
I got it.
Hold on.
I can't do it. I don't know LeBron's psyche.
So when did you stop psychoanalyzing LeBron? Was it this morning at like 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to go from public perception, and I agree with your point for every reason you didn't make, that there is next to no pressure on LeBron James because last year he pulled it off. He brought a championship to the land, right?
Yes.
He went home and he won a championship.
Yes.
That's pretty great, right?
Yes.
Pressure off. So then Kevin Durant left Oklahoma City and joined up with the Warriors and made what most people think is a virtually unbeatable super team, right? So pressure's off LeBron James. So the odds makers now say that LeBron's team is a heavy underdog in this final. They have a Mount Rushmore player, but they are a heavy underdog. And every prediction, I don't read the internet like you do, but all the predictions from analysts I respect that I've seen, they're all Warriors in 5, maybe Warriors in 6. It's 5 or 6, 5 and 6, right?
Yes.
And so that's pressure way off LeBron, who, by the way, is playing in his 8th NBA Finals, so he will be times 2, more than twice the most experienced player on the floor. Because there are some with 3 finals under their belts, but going into their 3rd finals, but this is his 8th, right? So not only is he in his 8th finals, but he is still ranked by all the analysts I see. You saw one yesterday on, I think it was Bleacher Report had one. He's still ranked as the best player on the floor, and he should be. I have no issue with that. So he's by far the most experienced. He's still the best player, but nobody's giving him a chance. So it's like, what more could you ask for? It's the most beautiful spot for LeBron James he could ever pray for because God has been good. The basketball gods have said, let there be LeBron. Experience, talent, height of his powers, but nobody expects him to win this championship, right?
Right.
Or very few. I mean, one person does, sitting across from me, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm giving him a chance is because of LeBron. You and I both know if this team had showed up to the finals without LeBron, they would have no chance.
Sure.
You'd probably have to bet $150,000 just to win $25.
Yeah, it's like my Spurs. If you take Kawhi away, you see what happens.
Stop it! Ain't nobody talking about Kawhi.
I'm serious. They're up 25 on the super team in the 3rd quarter.
When Kawhi takes the Spurs without Timmy Duncan and without Manu and without Tony Parker to the finals, you and I will have a conversation.
Oh, wait. So Kawhi's just chopped liver and Kevin Love and Tristan, they're just chopped liver?
I've seen LeBron go to an NBA Finals with Boobie Gibson.
Yeah.
with Drew Gooden,
Big
with
Z.
Ilgauskas,
Yeah.
with Parker.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
stop
you
it.
didn't Mo Williams and All-Star?
I don't think Mo was there then.
He wasn't there the
I don't
first
think
finals?
that. No.
Oh, I thought he was, but maybe I'm wrong. So the point is, to your point, the one point I do somewhat agree with you on, the pressure in this finals will be hyper-focused on, number one, Kevin Durant, because he left Russell Westbrook and he's chasing a ring, and will he reinforce that and pull that off? I think even more pressure will be hyper-focused on a Steph Curry who has not lived up to either of his regular season MVPs in either of the last two finals, especially last year when he had only 26 assists to 30 turnovers over the 7 games.
Yes.
That's outrageously wrong.
Right.
And he had a big turnover pass late in Game 7 with 5
Behind
minutes
the back.
left behind the back. I thought he was feeling a little pressure. That's just me. Got a little too cute. It's almost like Phil Mickelson used to do in major championships. Oh, I'll just try something that's impossible to pull off because I'm really starting to choke here a little bit.
Right.
So I'm going to try something, and they can't rip me for this because this was an impossible
Right.
shot that I tried. So he throws it behind his back and throws it out of bounds. And it was a turning point. They were up 1 at that point, and it was a turning point in the game. And then I still think there's a whole lot of pressure on Draymond because I think he let his team down and owes his team for getting himself suspended in Game 4 and missing Game 5, which was the turning point of
Bron
that
knocked
series.
him down.
Knocked
He
him
didn't
down.
just fall.
Yeah.
Bron put him down and then stepped over him.
Yep. So to me, the Walking Dead of LeBron apologists out there now, and the Legion grows every day. It's like an epidemic. You know, they're all out there like this.
Put your hands down, Joy.
LeBron, yeah, like that, yeah.
Confifi.
You know,
Confifi. That's all I got for you.
They're all out there, the blind witnesses, and they have already given LeBron a pass for this finals because...
What pass?
Remember, he sent them all a signal, a subliminal signal back on, what was it, January 23rd that night? Remember after they lost it
They
in New
top
Orleans?
heavy.
Yeah. We're top heavy as you know what. I need help. I don't have enough help. So the message got sent to all the Walking Dead out there, and they're thinking, he doesn't have enough help. He doesn't have enough help. He doesn't have enough help. They're spreading the word because he just doesn't have enough help against the Warriors. That was the message.
So are you more critical of LeBron James saying we're top heavy? We need a backup point guard. We need another big. Or are you more upset at his 73-9 team adding an MVP?
Well, they didn't go out and add him. They didn't seek him. He sought them. He
They could have
knocked
told
on
him
their
no,
door.
Skip.
Well, Steph could have, and I told you I didn't like Steph for not saying
Let
no.
me ask you a question. I don't know if they still do it now, but people used to come around, they sell dictionaries, they sell encyclopedias, Tupperware, whatever it
Yep.
is. They come around selling it. You don't have to buy it, do you? You can say, no, thank you. I already have a dictionary. I already have
well, you have a
encyclopedia.
computer.
Yeah.
It's on the internet now.
But see, that was before your time. Skip, you remember they used to come door to
I
door and sell
do.
encyclopedias,
They did.
dictionaries.
They did.
And if you didn't want it, guess what, Skip? You say, no, thank you. I'm good.
Okay,
the Warriors
but
won 73 games. They could have said, nah, Kevin, we straight over here.
Yeah, but an encyclopedia isn't exactly the equivalent of adding Kevin Durant. If you have one, and you add another, you already have one, but you'd say, well, how does an encyclopedia equate to Steph Curry and Kevin Durant?
I didn't even have it. We didn't even have an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
So when they came
Neither
out,
did we.
we couldn't afford it. Skip,
Yeah.
you won 73. You won 73 games. You had a unanimous MVP. The year before, he had also won the MVP. You could have said no, thank you. You the one that blew your roster up and did all the way with your bench players in order to sign Kevin Durant. So I guess they were saying, we need another player because we can't take down the king.
You are preaching to my choir. You are making my point. I agree with you, which is why all the Walking Dead out there are saying, it's over, man. They added Kevin Durant. Our man doesn't really have a chance here. Even the Walking Dead, they don't really expect LeBron to win this. They'll be ecstatic if he does. But again, there's no pressure. They won't look sideways at LeBron if they get swept. Nobody's going to care. They would just say, what did you expect?
LeBron has made it abundantly clear. He should never be the underdog as long as he's lacing up his cleats. His gym shoes. He should not be.
He actually plays in cleats because he basically plays football.
Yeah, he'll run you over if you get in his way.
Well,
Dunk on you, like Christmas. Remember he dunked on Draymond and KD?
well, especially on if Man Bun's covering him. But all of a sudden, Man Bun's not in this series. I don't think. Did they sign him?
Let me ask you a question. Who does LeBron fear on the Warriors? He's 18-5 against Kevin Durant. He took down a 73-9 team down 1-3 with a two-time MVP the last time unanimous.
I think he fears one man, the guy who called him the B word, who stood up to him.
Who called him a baller?
Yeah, stood up to him and looked him in his eye and said, "You ain't nothing." You know what? That guy named Draymond Green, he's as big as LeBron, he's as strong as LeBron, and he's got a bad streak in him in a good way that LeBron does not have. He's much tougher than LeBron.
Don't sleep on him.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Bron.
I'm not sleeping on him. I'm just saying who's not afraid of him? That guy's not afraid. Do I think Steph and Clay are a little afraid? I do. Do I think Kevin Durant is afraid of LeBron? I definitely do, because what's LeBron? Regular season, he's 14-4 against Kevin and 4-1.
18-5.
Yeah, 4-1 in the finals, right?
4-1.
Okay, so I don't think LeBron's afraid of Kevin Durant, but I do think LeBron's afraid of Draymond, or at least has a healthy fear of him.
Did you see what he did to him when he came back for Game 6? He said, because you know what, Draymond? I know what you're thinking. You think I hung 41-16 and 7 on them because you wasn't there. But guess what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to hang 41-11-8 on you to let you know, just so you don't feel left out, that I gave this to Steph and Clay. You get it Game 6. And guess what I'm going to do for Game 7? You got that Larry O'Brien, the Bryan Trophy, that's side to side, that's going to be on the sideline? I'm coming to get it.
So
it's
help
coming
me out.
back to Cleveland.
If Steph had made the last shot of Game 7 instead of Kyrie, who would the MVP have been in that series? Draymond Green.
Yeah.
So this gets swept under the carpet because they lost, because Kyrie made the last shot. But in the 7th game, Draymond did try to pay back his team.
Yeah.
He had 32 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists with 2 steals. Maybe not quite a LeBron-esque line, but it was in the ballpark. And I think he was right in line to be the MVP. He just needed his little man, Steph, to just finally make one shot, and he couldn't.
There have been some all-time great performances in a losing cause. Be it football,
LeBron
baseball,
knows.
or basketball.
He's lost 4 finals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who remembers what your stat line was? My guy had 27-11-11 in Game 7. My guy led every person that's played in the finals in every statistical category.
You admit that Draymond outplayed your guy in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, but nobody remembers.
Hold on. Now, my guy made a three-pointer with like under 3 minutes, and he had the chase down block heard around the world.
With an assist. You got to give him assists. J.R. Smith slowed down Iguodala. You got to admit it.
We don't do the hockey assist. I pass the ball to you, I pass the puck to you, and you pass the puck on, and everybody gets an assist. That ain't how we do it. Who pinned the ball to the backboard?
After Iguodala had to stop flat and say,
how about what was play of the year? Can you tell me what the play of the year was?
Well, the LeBron apologists would say that was.
No.
I didn't say it. The next day I said, come on, give me a break. Seriously, you're going to take credit for that?
No, what you said is like, I can't believe this. You was like, I can't believe this. Because LeBron James did the unthinkable. He did the unbelievable, the unimaginable. He did it. Down 1-3.
You know what's happened?
What happened?
It's gotten so bad right here, right now with the LeBron apologists, the Walking Dead, that it feels like LeBron's record has been completely expunged, cleansed.
No.
The way you clean the internet. You just clean out all the bad stuff. You know, you can pay to have that done.
I know.
You should think about it. But
why? I want everything. The thing that makes LeBron so beautiful is all his warts. It's all the trials and tribulations that he's gone
to. It feels to me right now like LeBron is seen as 7-0 in the finals. He's actually 3-4 in the finals, but it feels like he's 7-0. And I got to tell you, seriously, I'm with you on one part of this that I give LeBron a great shot. I think he's being terribly underestimated and underrated. His team is being underrated by Las Vegas right now, and I don't get it because it's pretty close. Because I still don't trust several of these Warriors on the biggest stage. I've told you I don't trust Kevin Durant. I'm not sure I trust Steph Curry. I'm just not sure. They're going to run into...
But you trust LeBron even less.
Well, okay, but do I trust Kyrie, the closer for the Cavaliers? Yes, I do.
Let me ask you a question.
Has Kevin Love played the best basketball of his career?
Eastern Conference Finals, he was phenomenal.
He's tremendous.
He's
and listen,
phenomenal.
I keep telling you, Tristan Thompson's the most underrated player on the court right now of these two teams. He's a beast, man. I want him on my team because nobody attacks the glass more than Tristan does.
He's going to have to do it.
And he's got a little floater that he's kind of perfected.
Left or right hand.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, he's pretty good. They don't need another big guy. He's big enough between him and LeBron.
But he can't play. Listen, only Wilt was able to play. Wilt played one year, played 48 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
So he played every minute of the game, and obviously they went into overtime if you play in 48.5 minutes.
Yeah.
There's nobody playing that amount of time now. Skip, after him, they do not have a true big. Everybody's gotten hurt. Birdman got hurt. Bogut was gone in 60
They're
seconds.
fine.
Larry Sanders didn't work out.
They're
of course,
fine.
you know why?
LeBron's 6'9".
Why they fine, Skip?
Yeah.
Why they fine, Skip?
Because it's 6'9", 270, probably?
No, he's 6'9", 255 with about 3.5% body fat.
270. Come
You know
on.
what? Hey, Skip, we going to Oakland tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you thought the devil was the only one that wears Prada. Shannon wears Prada, too.
Really?
Yeah. But me and
Does
bro...
the devil wear socks?
No.
No?
It's too hot in hell.
We got something for you.
Yeah.
We got something
You know
for
what?
you.
I'm going to say my prediction until tomorrow, but I'm telling you, LeBron has a great chance to win Game 1. I think it's on a silver platter for Cleveland.
All of
Seriously.
All of the games are on a silver platter, as long as 23 is on the court.
Are you predicting a sweep?
What part about that didn't you get, Skip?
Well, go
Did
ahead.
you get the memo?
You can go ahead and just blurt out your prediction.
Did you get the memo?
Are you predicting a Cleveland sweep?
LeBron.
Did I hear that?
The King James plays for the Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Anytime he's on the court, there's an expectation from him and his teammates that everything's
Did you
gonna be
predict
okay.
a sweep?
That
Did I just
everything's gonna
hear
be
it?
okay. No, I didn't predict no Skip. All I'm saying...
Silver platter sounds like a sweep.
Oh, look at Bron.
No mercy. Hey guys, before we move on to the next topic, let me tell you about ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100+ job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. You can find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. There's no juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen the candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out why ZipRecruiter has been used by Fortune 100 companies and thousands of small and medium-sized businesses. And right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. That's ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. One more time, try it for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/undisputed. Now let's get to our next topic. No mercy. Paul Pierce and Doc Rivers were on ESPN yesterday and became the latest to criticize the lack of competition around the league. They pointed to Kevin Durant's decision to join a Warriors team that narrowly beat the Thunder in 7 last year. Let's take a listen to Pierce and Doc.
I'm just not built like that. I'm not a guy who goes into the neighborhood, gets beat up by the bullies gang, and then now I want to join your gang. Like, that's just not me. I want to fight. Let's go. I mean, I'm going to stand up for myself, and that's just the competitive nature of where I come from, the era I grew up in.
It is tough when you see a guy join the team, you know, in Durant case, what he did this year. That was tough for anybody that's competitive to watch. He lost, and then he joins. Having said that, it was his choice. I have no problem with him, but it's something from a competitive standpoint you would think you wouldn't do. I have no problem with him doing it. It's just something from a competitive standpoint for me. You know, I guess when I played, it had been tough for me to join Detroit. You know, having said that, he had the ability to do it. Guys are doing it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Skip, do you agree with their criticism?
I do not. I think their criticism is uninformed and ultimately very unfair to Kevin Durant. It's also laughably hypocritical because what was the first super team formed in NBA annals? Wait, I think it was when Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen decided to join Paul Pierce in Boston and play for the great Doc Rivers, right?
But Paul Pierce didn't lie. He didn't leave.
He didn't leave, but he could have said no.
Yep.
Right? You just said
could have.
Steph could have said no to
Right.
Kevin Durant, right? But
Yep.
Paul didn't say no to Kevin Garnett, and he didn't say no to Ray Allen.
Doc didn't say no.
Doc didn't say no, so they said, yeah, thanks very much. Now back to Kevin Durant. I'm going to say this again. This is something I said 3 years ago, so I first guessed it. I'm not second guessing it. This isn't 20/20 hindsight. It was first sight. Kevin Durant was stuck in an impossible situation for Kevin Durant with Russell Westbrook. He liked Russ very much, his little brother off the court. They got along just fine off the court. But on the court, as we all know, Russ is tough to play with, especially when you're the co-star. And it took a while, but Kevin finally realized that Russ, as the point guard, gets to make every decision every time up the floor. Every shot that Kevin got to take in Oklahoma City had to start with Russell's decision to let him get that shot, right?
Correct.
So after a while, he's thinking, gee, I don't think I can win a championship with him as the primary decision maker. But even worse for Kevin, the organization, starting with the GM Sam Presti, decided that Russ was the man in Oklahoma City. They wanted the ball in his hands, taking the big late shots. They wanted definitely taking the last shot. And they treated him and coddled him and spoiled him as the alpha dog in the franchise. He was the man. He was the driving force. He was the dominant leader according to the coaching staff and the front office.
Right.
So they treated him that way, and Kevin's, he's obviously wildly talented. He's a great player. And after a while, his feelings got battered over the fact that Russell was treated like the one to his 1A. So he decides finally, I just can't take this anymore. So help me out here. If he decides my priority going into my 10th season is to win one ring, should he go to, do you want him to go to Brooklyn and say, watch this, I'm going to take the Nets and beat LeBron with the Nets. I'm going to beat Kyrie and Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson with the Nets. Do you want him to do that? No, nobody wants him to do that. Do you want him to go to the Wizards and say, okay, I can take John Wall and Beal and I'll go up to Cleveland. I'll be home. But I know it was going home, but still, it's not enough. It's still too dicey. It's not a guaranteed ring because LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love and Tristan are all still up there in their primes. And who else? Boston. Do you want him to go to Boston? You saw what Boston had. It's Isaiah or bust, right?
Well, we'll leave a less talented Russell to join another ball-dominant guy.
Another guy, okay? So no. So he said, I'm going to maximize my ring shot. I'm going, if they'll have me, I'm going to go knock on that door up in Oakland. And they said, sure, come on in. They kind of helped recruit him. Steph said, we'd love to have you. And I can't condemn him for that because if they do win this thing, especially if they win it dominantly, after a while, nobody will remember the circumstance. They'll just remember Kevin won a ring.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a topic in a little bit about Coach Van Gundy, Jeff Van Gundy, the ABC, obviously, saying that they're going to be in 8 or 10 more finals. Well, if he's right about that, nobody's going to remember that Kevin joined this or made the super team, right?
You're right.
So in the end, I can't condemn it because I understand his situation. And I also understand this about Kevin. I've told you this before. He's not an alpha personality. And I think he sort of looked inward and said, I'm not that guy. I don't want to dominate the franchise. I'm happy going along for a great ride because I'm still a really good player.
Right.
And I'm going to help them be an all-time great team. But I think ego-wise, personality-wise, he's comfortable being the second wheel? As long as the first wheel it will pass him the basketball, which what did he say right away? This team shares the basketball.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know why they keep taking shots at him. Obviously, the Clippers wanted Kevin Durant like everybody else did, and he said no to them. So they may be still stinging from that.
Right. Skip, I'm with you. I'm really torn about this because I understand what free agency represents. A guy's fulfilled his obligation. He's a free agent. He gets an opportunity to shop his talent wherever he wants to go. Some guys like to go around and, take these first-class trips where they send a private jet and you get to go and you wine and dine and you get to see the sights of the city. Kevin Durant, he was in the Hamptons. Everybody came to see him, be it Clippers or Golden State or his former team OKC. I don't even think he took a meeting with the Knicks. I think the Miami Heat was also interested. Yep. The Wizards were one of the teams that was interested. So that's his right. After spending, I think, 10 years in one locale, I don't think the fans can have anything negative to say. But when I'm looking at them like, wow, a 73-9 team, they knocked you out, and then you went and joined them. But the problem is, Skip, is that when you start evaluating players, we say, okay, you look at, he averaged this many points, this many rebounds, this many assists, blocks, he played this number of years. What does it come down to? The final straw, the rings. Okay, Kevin Durant says, okay, I want to go get a ring. See, people always say, well, ring, 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 but then you question the manner in which the guy went and got the ring. You can't have it both ways. Kevin Durant he says, do I want to be a one player and not win a ring, or could I be comfortable being 1A, maybe 1B, and win a ring? Well, he seems to be perfectly content with that.
Yeah.
It is so hypocritical for Doc that was coaching the Boston Celtics with Paul Pierce, and they couldn't do anything. And then Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett come, they win a ring in their first year, and they're in contention every year, and to criticize Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
How? Why? You wanted him. First of all, look, this is a super team. I don't know if we've ever seen a team with this collection of talent in their prime. Normally, Skip, what happened? The Bob McAdoos went to the Lakers year 12, year 13. Bill Walton went to the Celtics. Now, he was a former MVP, won a finals, but he wasn't that player. He went later in his career. The only difference between what you're seeing now and what you saw then, teams put these super teams together. Players are doing it now.
Yep.
Players in their later years, the Charles Barkley, the Karl Malones, the Gary Paytons, later in their career after they had already established themselves as individual players, they tried at the very end to get a ring. What the Warriors did is they put this team together in their prime, in their mid-20s. That's the only difference. They've always been super teams.
But remember, give Golden State some credit here, because they did what the Spurs have done. They beat the draft system.
Yes.
They stole Steph Curry. Then they stole Clay. They got him down the line in the first round. Then they really stole Draymond in the second round. Well, okay, you beat the system, because the system says, oh, worst shall be first with the lottery. No, you beat all of them, the way the Spurs drafted Ginobili with the last pick in the draft and Parker late in the first round.
But, Skip, guess what? Everybody gets a draft. Just because you don't know how to evaluate talent and you pick bums, that's not Golden State's fault.
Okay.
There are a lot of teams that had an opportunity to get Steph Curry. There's a lot of teams that had an opportunity to get Klay Thompson.
Okay, so give them credit for those three.
I got no problem with
that. So all of a sudden, they've got room to add one free agent, because they really hadn't added anybody other than those three big draft picks,
and
right?
Not only could we add a guy, we're already going to let Harrison Barnes go, because we're not getting into a bidding war with the Mavericks. So we just slide him in there, and for an extra $4 million a year, we can get Kevin Durant and his MVP 28, 29 points a game versus a guy that missed like 5 or 32 from games 5 through 7.
Yep.
Who wouldn't do that? I have no problem. And for Paul Pierce to say, well, that's not how I'm wired, you sure didn't have a problem being wired to take on KG or Ray Allen and get Rondo and y'all win a title. And guess what, Skip? Had LeBron not broke them up, they would have still been trying to be together. And not only did it break them up, what did they do? What did Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett do? Since Paul Pierce isn't wired like that, he went to Brooklyn and joined Joe Johnson and Darren Williams to form a big four to try to take down the Miami Heat.
That's a good point.
So Paul Pierce is being disingenuous when he says he's not wired like that, because he's wired exactly like that.
I agree. So in the end, I don't blame Kevin. I know you can think less of him as a competitor. Maybe you would think less of him, but hey, he did it was predictable what he chose to do.
I'm going to ask him for an autographed jersey.
Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, it needs to go to LeBron, because LeBron will be on top of his, because you already know what's going to happen. You already know what's going to happen, don't you, Skip?
Wait, are you going to, like, ride two bandwagons?
No. I'm never getting on that.
Yeah?
I mean, I have no problem with Kevin there, but let's be realistic.
Wait,
now.
is this some kind of disqualifier for tomorrow?
No.
To sort of undercut tomorrow?
Oakland,
you can say, hey, I love Kevin Durant. I'm going to ask for his jersey.
Skip.
Right?
But let's be real. Kevin Durant joined this team. This team was already at the picnic. Kevin Durant just brought his appetite. He didn't bring potato salad. He didn't bring napkins. He didn't bring chips. He didn't bring utensils. All he brought was...
I think he brought a lot of potato
Skip,
salad.
that was 79-3.
I don't know.
Skip, you make it seem like this team was struggling, like they were the 4th seed. They've been the #1 seed the last 2 years before Kevin Durant.
He brought steak and caviar, right, to the potatoes and chips.
Let me ask you a question. Even without Kevin Durant, who was in the finals? Do you... Go to State. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When they lost, as you mentioned, you said they lost Kevin Durant and they played better without Kevin than they did with him.
I agree. And by the way, LeBron had them down 2-1 without Kevin Love or Kyrie.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So, Doc, the only thing that can help you in the Clippers is you better get LeBron. Pay LeBron $50 million because your owner, Steve Ballmer, is worth about $25 billion. LeBron wants to buy a team. He says, I'm going to own a team. Tell Steve Ballmer to pay him like $60 million a year for the next 5, and Bron might come see you and bring you a ring.
Well, you are right about Paul Pierce accepting Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, but he was traded to Brooklyn.
They signed off on it.
Well, okay.
Doc said, I didn't want to be a part of rebuilding.
He was traded. Him and Kevin Garnett were part of the deal to Brooklyn. There's a lot of jealousy going on here. They were ahead of the 3, and you're totally right. They didn't put those guys together, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green, through trades or free agency. They drafted them.
When Paul Pierce was holding up that Finals MVP trophy, he looked so disappointed that they had formed the Big 3. I mean, he felt so bad about it.
I'm sure Doc Rivers would have happily accepted Kevin Durant if he wanted to go there, and they could make that work.
And if the Lakers had won, if they had beaten the Lakers because they'd beaten the first time and then they lost the second time in 7 games, woo, and Paul Pierce, how could Paul live with himself? With Ray and KG, and how could he do that?
I'm sure he'd find a way. No mercy. The lack of competition in the NBA has been a point of contention all season after Kevin Durant joined a Warriors team that already featured 3 All-NBA players. Yesterday, Jeff Van Gundy said he doesn't see this changing anytime soon. Let's take a listen.
The combination of offense and defense, the talent that they've been able to amass, it puts them in position where this is a dynasty to me. They have their youth, they have their health. I see nothing preventing them from going to 8 to 10 straight finals. It'll be a massive upset, I think, if they're not there each and every year.
Skip, can you see the Warriors making it to 8 to 10 straight finals?
I cannot. These things never take off the way they look like they're going to take off because life happens, stuff happens, egos take over, pride takes over, injuries happen. All of a sudden, Kevin Durant decides, I got my ring. I want to go back and join Russ and make it right in Oklahoma City. Steph all of a sudden decides, you know what? I want to finish my career back home in Charlotte. And Klay decides, you know what? I got to be the man somewhere because I don't want to be the 4th wheel anymore, and I'm going somewhere else where I'm going to take the money and run somewhere. And I got a quick story for you to illustrate this because it's the classic one. I was a young columnist for the Dallas Morning News after the Pittsburgh Steelers won their 4th Super Bowl ring. You might or might not remember this at the end of the 1979 season, a little before your time. Not around yet. But that team had 9 Hall of Famers on it. And the Monday after they won 31-19 here in Pasadena against the Los Angeles Rams of Vince Ferragamo.
I remember it.
Do you?
Yep.
I'm looking at this roster, and I'm looking at the ages of this roster, and I wrote a column, basically a message to Cowboy fans. You better get used to this because it's not anywhere near winding down. Because I'm looking at Bradshaw, Terry Bradshaw, our guy at Fox, was only 31. Lynn Swann was 27. Frank O'Hara's 29. John Stallworth. These are all big Hall of Famers, 27. Mean Joe was the oldest, Mean Joe Green at 33, but Jack Lambert was 27. Mel Blount was 31. Jack Ham was 31. And Mike Webster, the Hall of Fame safety, was only 27. And what's that? I'm sorry, center. But the point was that you look at these ages and you say, wow, they're all kind of, some are at the end of their primes, but they're pretty good. And they had a bunch of young players whose names I can't remember that looked pretty good. They had flashed in the Super Bowl. And guess what? That team missed the playoffs the next year, then it missed the playoffs the next year, and it didn't even get back to a Super Bowl for 16 seasons, and it didn't win another Super Bowl for 26 seasons. Why did that happen? We don't have long enough to go into it.
Injury and age.
Just injury and age. It just took over, and after 4 Super Bowls, things start to go south. It's just hard to sustain it. And I show you Michael Jordan's Bulls. After 3 championships, do you think everybody looked at it and said, man, they're going to win 23 in a row, right? And then all of a sudden, Michael had to take a little sabbatical, and he missed age 30 season. Then he wins 3 more, and you'd think, well, gee, here he goes again. And guess what? Jerry Krause's ego got in the way because he said, I'm sick of Phil Jackson. I'm going to fire him. And Michael said, you fire him, I'm going to quit. And he quit over Phil Jackson's firing. Michael said, I'm out. So he missed age 35, 36, and 37 seasons just out of spite, you know, which is fine. That's how much he loved Phil Jackson.
Right.
So it ended the dynasty, right?
Yep.
Well, who's to say this won't end? I mean, the Beatles broke up, you know.
Yoko!
Yeah. Well, it was, John was like 28 and Paul was 27. So they just broke up. It's the greatest rock and roll band ever. What are they doing? What are they thinking? They just stopped.
But Skip, I thought in order to be a dynasty, you had to do something. What have they done? They won a title.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't think that's what Jeff's saying. He's just saying they look so great that it'll be an upset if they don't keep getting back to the Western Conference.
I agree with you. I do not see 8 to 10. I see maybe 3 to 5. But with me saying that, if they went to 3 straight or 5 straight, would you consider the West weak?
Who are you looking at?
I'm just looking up there.
LeBron's not up there.
There goes.
No. I'm just, you know, because Joy, every time I sniff, Joy told me that was my tail. So I just started looking.
Well, that is a much more obvious towel.
Well, here's the thing you're missing.
Let me know when you want to play
I'm going to
poker.
say this again. I'm just talking about this year's team.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it one more time. My Spurs had this team down 23 points mid-third quarter, game 1 in Oakland,
Yep.
and Zaza cheap-shotted my man Kawhi Leonard and knocked him out for the rest of the series. I think my Spurs would have beaten this team this year. So who's to say they won't beat them next year?
Skip, I agree with you because what normally happens as a team start having success, somebody wants more and more of the credit for that success. Now, how do you – Steph Curry is due $205 million. KD's probably going to, you know, probably opt out. If not this year, next year, he's going to want $235. Now, Klay, I think Klay is the piece that they can function without the best. I don't know if they can lose one of these other big 2 players or even Draymond because Draymond doesn't do everything. He does everything really well.
Yep.
He rebounds, he blocks, he assists, he steals the ball. He's the heartbeat. He's the mouthpiece of that basketball team. So I think Klay, and as you mentioned, Klay's like, hold on, I got a ring. I got 2 rings. Why would I stay here for $18 million when somebody's going to be willing to pay me $30 million over there? He's gone. And then again, injury. Because as you mentioned, Terry Bradshaw got hurt his shoulder. Boom, he's done. Lambert had the toe injury.
He did.
The same injury that Deion Sanders and Jonathan Ogden ended up retiring because Jack Lambert was gone. Joe Green he already said he had that injury for about his shoulder. So he had numbness in it. He retired.
Yep.
And then you had Mel Blount got old. All these guys started getting old. And then next thing you know, what you thought was going to be a dynasty was no more. They did make it back to the AFC Championship game. They lost to the Miami Dolphins, and I think 42-28 or something like that. But Skip, funny things happen. When you look, you're like, man, the way this team, they're in their absolute prime. Steph is 28. KD is like 27, 28. Klay is 26, Draymond 27. This thing could go on and on and on. But it never does. It never does. Now, the only dynasty that I know that's still in effect from, 800 years ago is the Grimaldi dynasty in Monte Carlo. You know what the Prince written there, but you know what I'm talking about, Skip.
You did some good Google research.
Skip, I don't need Skip. I have a history.
You finally get that encyclopedia?
No, we didn't get one. We couldn't get one. My cousin them got it. But Skip, I don't know why you don't think I know anything besides sports. Skip, I like to read. Sometimes I be reading. I was like, you know what? This would be some great information one day. I was in class. I was in whose class was it? I think the lady, Miss Smith. And I was just thinking, I said, one day I'm going to be on a show called Undisputed, 1984. What was so significant about 1984?
It's a good book.
I was sophomore, George Orwell. I was a sophomore in high school. And I remember on December 30th, I said, something's going to happen before the end of this year is out that's going to be special that we'll remember this. You know what happened there, Skip? You do know.
I don't.
We know what happened.
I only minored in history at Vanderbilt.
That's what I got. I got a criminal justice degree with a minor in history.
He's trying to say that that's when LeBron James was born.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
I thought that was when Tiger was born.
Tiger Woods, 41 years old. You know good well Tiger was born in 1984.
84. Oh, December 30th.
George was born in 84.
Yeah.
No, 87.
87, yes.
And you asked George, did she remember the Steelers of 79?
Well, she loves
I know
her
of the
Steelers.
Steelers
She
of
knows
79.
all about what did
Just
happen.
wasn't around for it.
She a hater. She thought the Heat was going to be a dynasty because she was going to have a little rig. She kicking up a little pop-up. Go Heat, go. Go Heat.
We hit pots and pans in Miami. That's what we do. We don't do pom-poms.
Well, y'all don't. First of all,
Celebrate
I see what happens is y'all cooking in them pots and pans, so that's why y'all showed up at the second quarter, because you had to eat the meal before you got there because the stadium was empty. You know it, Joy, and then you left. And LeBron told y'all to come on back. Bron forgave y'all.
No, Ray Allen said, come on back.
Bron said, come on back.
He literally said, come on
Bron
back.
said, come on back. I forgive you.
Hundreds of fans were streaming out into the night.
Hundreds is an exaggeration.
Maybe
it's
40.
Like 50 people.
Yeah, okay.
I
saw the video.
But here's the thing, Joy. It was already like 1,000 had already left.
You can't find me a picture of an empty seat from that night.
But you guess what? Everybody was at that game. 10 years from now, 15 years from now, that stadium had 50,000 people. Man, I was at that game. Man, when Ray Allen hit that shot, I was there.
Yeah.
No.
I was there, and I don't ever take pride in it at all.
You was at the game? You at that game, Skip?
Yeah, I was there.
Well, it would take too long to get into, but obviously you'd have to fit all of this under the salary cap as well.
Yeah, because
aside from
how many $40 million players can you have on one team?
Yeah, you got to make that work also. So that's another complication. No mercy. More details are coming out on Tiger Woods' DUI arrest early Monday morning. The police report states that Tiger's car had 2 flat tires and serious damage. Tiger allegedly also told police officers that he thought he was in Los Angeles, not in Florida. Yesterday, golf legend Jack Nicklaus was asked his thoughts on Tiger. Let's take a listen.
Tiger, I've always thought was going to probably break my record. Do I think he probably will? Probably won't now. I don't think it's probably, unless I don't know what's going to happen. I really have no idea what his operation did. I mean, you're asking me questions that I can't answer. Did I enjoy watching him play? Absolutely. Did I enjoy every time Tiger did something, my name was mentioned right beside it. It kept me relevant. It was as good for me as it was for him. I feel bad for Tiger. Tiger's a friend. He's been great for the game of golf, and I think he needs all our help, and we wish him well.
Skip, how do these latest details change your opinion on Tiger's incident?
Man. Yet another Tiger story gets stranger and stranger by the day, and my emotions have swung wildly given the details that I hear in bits and pieces over the last 48 hours. So I've gone from suspecting alcohol was involved to no, wrong. He took the breathalyzer test on the spot and he blew 0.00. So no alcohol was involved. So yesterday when we did the topic on the show, I pictured Tiger on pain meds, just dozing off at a traffic light, stuck at a red light, on his way back. I know it was 3 o'clock in the morning. It was actually 2-something in the morning.
2:03, I think.
Yeah, 2:03. And I thought, not good, still driving impaired, but not the worst thing in the world that I've heard. And then yesterday afternoon, I started hearing shocking details, far scarier details, because, as Joy points out, that vehicle he was driving had already been involved in some kind of collision with something, a parked car or a stationary object or something, because when both driver's side tires are blown out, I'm talking about getting blown out, I assume you had to hit the curb at a high rate of speed, right?
Yes.
That's the only way I know, unless he ran over glass or nails or something, but they're both out and the back tail light is out and there's significant damage to the left side of the car. So somewhere in Jupiter, Florida right now, something got hit that we don't know about, maybe that the police aren't yet aware of. I don't know. And then it was strange that he was actually heading away from his mansion. And as the police first questioned him, he said, I was playing golf in L.A., California, he told them, and I'm on my way home to Orange County. Well, obviously, he's on the wrong coast, but that's what he used to do growing up in Long Beach and in the Orange County area. So then he hadn't been out partying, as we sort of suspected, on a holiday night. He was wearing gym clothes, and he was driving away from his mansion. So now I'm starting to wonder,
did he even know where it was going?
Yeah. Was he like sleepwalking, pill-induced, or sleep driving, where he just didn't even know where he was?
Right.
Boy, that's really scary. So we're back to how fortunate was he to not badly injure himself or somebody else, or worse. And then we get to the Nicholas line that we just heard. I don't know how close Jack really is to Tiger. Right. I know they're friendly. I don't know if they're friends, but he said he needs our help, as in something deeper is going on here. And it was, I'm going to say it again, it was reported back in 2009 when he went to rehab for sex addiction that part of that rehab was over pill addiction also. So I don't know if he's gotten back in a bad place, coming off 4 back surgeries, and this was the worst one of the group. Is he gotten dependent? Can he not judge his meds anymore? I don't know, but this was way worse than I thought 24 hours ago.
Skip, I co-sign everything you just said. I don't think Tiger realized how lucky or how big a break he caught, because with the damage that's being reported, 2 flat tires, damage to the left side, which is the driver's side, and the tail light, he hit something, and he probably hit it at a high rate of speed. Because if you just graze something, you're not blowing out tires, just grazing something. I think so. And this is what I know, having played professional sports. The greater the athlete, the more infallible they think they are. This is not going to happen to me. This won't happen to me. And as you mentioned, when Jack said he needs our help, it got me to thinking, does Jack know something we don't? Because normally when you play a sport, you cover a sport, you know a little bit more than the average person that just watched the sport or casually followed the sport. Because people talk. We hear things about football and basketball that the viewers at home don't get an opportunity or privy to hear. And so maybe there's something going on. And it got me to thinking, sometimes your car will put you downside the road without the check engine light coming on. Maybe there weren't any warning signs that we could see that Tiger had this, but maybe this is a wake-up call not only to Tiger, to maybe those close to Tiger. Because, Skip, for you to be in a situation where you're driving a car and you're in Florida and you think you're in LA, or you think you're in Orange County, or you're in someplace else and you're going back and you have no idea, they wake you up and then they say as they're talking to you, you're dozing off. Skip, that's maybe he did have a bad reaction, Skip. Maybe he took one of these, which is, okay, you can take one of these. But normally people that when you're in pain in the recommended daily dose and say, if you take 2 of these, you should feel some relief in an hour or 2. But then people start thinking, well, if it says 2 and I feel good in an hour or 2, what would happen if I took 3 or 4? And then you get the combination. Because if some is good, more must be better. Yep. No, more normally leads to death. Tiger, you got a wake-up call. I don't know, maybe now as he sits back and he thinks and he goes out to his garage and he looks at the car, he realized just how fortunate he was. Because not only could he have harmed himself, he could have seriously harmed someone else. And that's the part that bothers me, that when you put someone else at risk, you put someone else in harm's way because of your carelessness and recklessness. I hope Tiger, and I don't know, Skip, maybe this was a one-off. Maybe this was just something happened, he was in pain, and he took maybe more than what he should. But Skip, for him to be in this situation, count your blessings, fall on your knees and pray and say, Lord, thank you for seeing me and someone else, because this could have ended in a terrible, terrible fashion.
It could have. You made an intriguing point yesterday. In Tiger Woods' glory days, if this had happened and what we thought had happened, he just sort of fell asleep at the light, would a cop have said, Mr. Woods, let me just take you home? And you were like, yeah, he probably would have.
Absolutely.
But in this state that he was in, with the car in that state, I think the policemen are just saying, hey, we got to sort of save you from yourself here. We need to take you in.
Because you know what, Skip? This is what would probably happen. Someone would have said they caught Tiger Woods inebriated or whatever it was. And the cop that did the Good Samaritan thing that got him home safely probably would have lost his job because someone would have told that he took a...
Oh, absolutely. It's a completely different environment today than it was when Tiger was at the peak of his
Absolutely.
His
but this situation cried for you just got to take him in just to make sure he can sleep this off in a safe place.
No, the police did the right thing.
Right.
He doesn't have bloodshot eyes. So, I mean, you're looking at it, you like, that's like, I don't know, Skip, if you've been to rural, but go back home. I've been home a couple of times, and people that are on pills, that's the kind of look they have.
That's the look? Wow. Well, is that going to become the new internet meme? Yeah. Crying Jordan? Is that the...
No, I ain't gonna bother Tiger. I like the crying Jordan one.
Well, I mean, this is.
You know it's coming.
Crying Jordan is not in the same category.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
more
Well, that's going to be a
serious.
meme, and COVFEFE. It's going to be
Whatever
a
that
new
is.
word.
Well, according to golf.com, the dash cam video of his arrest is expected to be released this afternoon. So.
Don't let it get released. Pay him off, Tiger.
No mercy. Austin Rivers of the Clippers is with us. Let's talk a little bit about your team. They've lost in the first round of the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Sorry to bring up old stuff.
Good.
What's keeping the Clippers from going deep in the playoffs?
Well, for one, injury. I mean, I would like to see any other team, top to bottom, go in the playoffs with their multiple guys hurt. I don't understand how you win. You saw, Cleveland lose a couple years ago in the finals because they didn't have Kevin and Kyrie. It's hard to win when you don't have your key players. In the past couple of years, we have not had our key players. So I honestly think that's the only reason. I think people try to put too much into it, but I think we could make deep runs if we have our full team.
But you guys had a 3-1 lead on the Rockets, and you were totally
No, that's
healthy.
true. No, that is true. That's one thing where, you know what, and that shows you we're right there. I mean, if anything, we're a game away from going to conference finals with our full team. And we did blow that lead, but, I mean, with our full team, I think we could be a conference finals team, absolutely. And I stand by that.
Let's talk about you for just a second. We've had Big Baby Davis on the show, and he said that your being obviously the coach's son has caused some resentment in the Clippers locker room. Have you felt much of that?
That's a bunch of BS. That's just Baby talking outside of his neck. I've heard Baby say to me multiple times, "Oh man, you know why Doc is so good? Doc is so great," and then now he's saying bad things about him. I mean, and it's a huge contradiction. And I don't have a problem with Baby. Me and Baby have always been cool, but it makes no sense to what he's doing. And whatever he has between him and my pops, my pops said the jokes about his weight and stuff like that. But it was hard. Let me ask you something. If someone is constantly out of shape, late, don't remember plays, how the hell are you supposed to play? I mean, so I don't know where that even goes with the team. And that had nothing to do with him coming at my father. I really don't care. That's between him and my pops. But as far as him talking about me being my coach, that has never had a play in the team. I've earned every stripe that I've gotten. I've earned every playing time. That's just him talking out the side of his neck. I don't really even understand where that comes from. So I'm not even paying that no mind.
That's well said. I like that. So,
It's a waste of my time talking about that.
how are you comfortable playing for your dad? Do you
I mean,
like
it's-
it? Would
yeah,
you rather not play for your dad?
No, I
or
mean,
what?
it's. I don't even see. That's the thing. Like, I've tried to explain this multiple times. I did not grow up playing with him. I mean, I grew up. This is the first time I've ever been coached by him. I grew up in Orlando, Florida. He grew up. I mean, my whole life he was in Boston for the most part. We've always been separate. I mean, that's just what it's been. So I have no. It's not awkward. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where. Did I expect it? I mean, they had questions like when I first got drafted 5 years ago, would you ever want to play for your dad? My answer was like, no. You know what I mean? And the opportunity presented itself where I was in a situation where I wasn't being used, or when I was in New Orleans, I was hurt a lot and I wasn't playing well, bottom line. I mean, I don't even have any excuses. I just wasn't playing well. I needed to get a fresh start in somewhere where they let guys go. I was able to do that. And at the end of the day, my dad's on the sideline. I don't even care if my grandma coaches me. At the end of the day, she can't help me when I'm on the floor. So everything I've done by myself through the help of my teammates and myself. It has nothing to do with who's coaching me. And he has had a big part in my success, but it would have been no different if it was somebody else. He lets guys go as long as you play defense. I've done everything that they've asked me to do, and I'm only going to continue to improve. So that's what I have to say.
But how
about that.
difficult is it playing for your dad? Is he harder?
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely more harder. He's definitely more. He's harder on me, for sure. Yeah. So if anything, I mean, look at the pressure that I had to play with, man. You imagine playing for your pops at this level? Like, that's not easy to do.
No.
Right.
So, people always talk about the easy part. Oh, he's your dad's coach. Well, why don't we talk about the hard part? I mean, I don't see anybody else doing what we've done. And at the end of the day, people can say what they want about me and my pops, but we've done something that no one else has been able to do. And I don't take that away. And this is something I'm going to look back 20 years from now and be like, man, that was amazing. I was able to play with my pops, man. Like, we were able to work together at a level and hopefully have even more success. Do I think I'm going to play here for the rest of my career? No, I'm not going to play for my dad the rest of my career. But for the time that I've been here, you can look at my years, I've improved. And at the end of the day, no one can take that away from me or my team. So that's the bottom line.
So during the regular season, how often would you see each other as father and son, you know, so to speak, socially, or would you try to avoid that?
The regular season?
Yeah.
I mean, you see him as much as any player sees, you know.
But you wouldn't see him for lunch or dinner?
No, I try to. We don't have that type of. And we would go to. It's not like we don't want to. It's just you see him enough. You know what I mean? Just as a player, you see the coach
Your
enough.
spare time, you ain't trying to hang out.
I'm not trying to hang out with him. No, and he knows that in the summertime I've seen him once this whole summer. Just for Mother's Day. You know, I mean, he came down for Mother's Day. Other than that, we stay pretty, you know, separate. And that's just part of the stick that you get, though. I mean, as a coach's son or a player's son, you know, the Stephs, you know, you get it growing up. Mine has extended because obviously I play with them. You know what I mean? Which has never happened before. Some people like it, a lot of people don't. You know, and that just, it is what it is. But the pros outweigh the cons, and you just got to deal with it.
So let's go back to the finals and talk about the central figure in the finals, his man LeBron James. What do you expect after, this is LeBron's 8th finals, he's a big underdog. What do you expect from him in these finals?
What you see all the time. I don't see, he's the best player in basketball. He's been the best player in basketball for a long time. I just don't see anybody beating the Warriors again. I just don't see anybody.
You think Kevin's the best offensive player, but you think LeBron's the best all-around player?
LeBron James has been the best player. Y'all know this. LeBron James has been the best player in basketball for the longest time.
Talk to him. I know this, but he doesn't.
I think Kawhi is threatening him.
He is, but come on, man. Look what LeBron's. Have you seen his numbers in the play? He's been doing this for. Let me put it this way.
What are you drinking water for?
If LeBron James wanted,
Want to wet your whistle over there? Getting ready to talk?
This is a known thing within the league, though. Like this is there's Kawhi Leonard's definitely top 3 best player in the league, or he's approaching, whatever you want to call it. Steph Curry, you got the Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. LeBron James wanted to average a triple-double. If he really wanted to do it, where if he was on the team, he could do anything that any player is doing right now. He's the best basketball player in the NBA, and he has been for like the past 10 years, and he's going to be for the next 4 or 5 years.
Hold on. But here's what I can't wrap my mind around. I give you that LeBron will be the best player on the floor on Thursday night, but he's a prohibitive underdog against a team whose players in the postseason really haven't proven that much. Look at Kevin Durant's postseason. It's not great. He doesn't have huge achievements. One reason he went to join the super team. And Steph, the last 2 finals, hasn't lived up to his regular season MVPs in either of the finals. So I'm not sure what Golden State has really proven. So they beat LeBron without Kyrie and without Kevin Love. That's it. And we're crowning them, so to speak, as a super team with nothing to crown yet. There's no real achievement there to me. So why shouldn't the best player in basketball with Kyrie, with Kevin Love, with Tristan, you said he's a beast, why shouldn't he be favored to win this finals?
I think, again, the way you put it that way, you could say that, but you know, you're taking away from Kevin, Steph, like they haven't had any postseason success. They've all had postseason success. Maybe they've had, at times they've had bad games. They are human. You know what I mean? You're going to have off nights. They've all had extreme amount of success in the playoffs. Now, you're right, Stephen Curry's numbers might not have been what his postseason, it's regular season, but no one has, for the most part, with the playoffs, the defense is different. Again, they don't call as much. It's a whole different game. It's like during the regular season, James Harden gets a lot of those calls. In the playoffs, they don't give it to him. You know what I mean? So it's just, you can't really compare the playoffs to the regular season as far as numbers go. But I think if you ask all of them individually, they all think the exact opposite. I mean, Draymond Green's like, I've had tons of success. Guys like Andre Iguodala's had finals MVP.
He was the MVP, but Steph wasn't the MVP.
No, Steph wasn't. But, I mean, that's the same thing with, you know, a lot of times Tony Parker got finals MVP, Chauncey Billups, and maybe at the time they weren't exactly the best player on the team, or Chauncey was. But I just don't see anybody beating that team, man. Just from having to play both teams, I've played against, you know, obviously both of them each year, and I just have a hard time seeing somebody beat the Warriors 4 times. I just don't see it. I don't.
You got it.
Yeah.
I think this guy knows a little bit about basketball.
Sounds like he knows what he's talking about, Shannon.
Well, it's breaking news that LeBron James, L.A. Holmes has been vandalized.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah. Are you joking?
Oh, I thought you were joking too.
No,
yeah. Oh.
No, L.A. Holmes was vandalized with the N-word graffiti.
Oh. Wow.
All right, well, we'll
Throw
put
that
that
out.
in the break.
Wow.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on Channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. That's all for us today. A special note, we will be live in Oakland tomorrow and Friday for the NBA Finals. Undisputed will be at Plank in Jack London Square. Audience check-in starts at 5 a.m. Pacific, so come out and check us out. We hope to see you all there.
Fox Sports, one of one.